Welcome back, Michelle.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm good. Lovely to be back in these amazing podcast recording studios here.
Yeah, you know what I want to talk about today?
Ooh, this sounds juicy.
I want to talk about the GLP-1 reality check.
What do you mean? What does that mean, Michelle?
I just had such a frustrating week on, I would say, 3/4 of my patients this past week required me to at least do about 15-20 minutes of work on paperwork to get their GLP-1 medicine approved by their insurance. I
There's a
didn't
lot
choose
of
their
barriers to
insurance.
this. Yeah.
I didn't choose their choices. And why is it up to me now to take care of this? We talked about this before.
We have.
I'm not an obesity medicine specialist. I was blindsided a little bit by the fact that these medications decided to be approved for sleep apnea.
Which it is. Well, tirzepatide is. I don't know. Is Ozempic approved for it?
Tirzepatide only. Tirzepatide
so not
only.
the semaglutide one. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the problem now. Is all of a sudden the primary cares, the endocrinology people who treat diabetes primarily. Oh no, you're a sleep doctor. They're gonna be prescribing this medication for you. They can go ahead and do this. Why do you guys hate me?
So, I mean, let me ask you, do you feel like the primaries are wanting you to manage this medication instead of them?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So this medicine, for those of you who haven't, I guess, been reading the news, this is a group of medicines. There's 4 or 5 of them out there. One, there was a trial last year, the Surmount OSA, which studied 2 different arms of patients with sleep apnea, moderate to severe, to be fair. And what they did was they put everybody in a diet and exercise education class, and then they gave one of them medicine, these injections once a week, and then they gave the other group placebo. And they wanted to see whose apnea was better, like their apnea hypopnea index, did it get better? Did these other parameters and risk factors like their weight, their blood sugars, did they get better? And at the end of this 3-month trial, and then they went on to the year, everything was getting better. And so
Which makes sense.
FDA approved it. Okay. And now everybody and their whole mother, brother, sister, cousin wants it.
I mean, but isn't that a good thing? Wouldn't you want to take something to help reduce your sleep apnea incidence, especially if maybe CPAP isn't working for you and maybe the GLP-1 could help to reduce the incidence of apnea episodes?
I get it if the people that are asking for it are the people that they studied in the trials. So obese people with moderate to severe apnea.
Okay.
Some of the people that were asking, they are young or middle-aged men or women. They are maybe a class 1, not a class 2 or 3 obesity. They might have mild sleep apnea. They might have not tried anything so far. They're even having sleep studies done from their primary care doctors just because they want weight loss medicine. So not because they have symptoms of sleep apnea.
Oh, wow. So, but I mean, this does bring up a good point, and I'm not familiar enough to be able to kind of comment on this in an informed way. But when the GLP-1 or when tirzepatide, so the GLP-1 and GIP was approved for sleep apnea, there are plenty of individuals that have sleep apnea that are not overweight or obese.
Right.
And
they weren't studied.
Well, right. So I'd be curious to know, does the same benefit of the GLP-1 apply to them if you're not necessarily overweight?
It wasn't studied.
Yeah.
So no. I mean, and
well, we don't know we don't know.
Well, it's not something that is an acceptable ask from a medical standpoint. So it's been a very frustrating thing because these medicines are not inexpensive. They are not generic. And it's not the insurance company's job to pick up medicines immediately after it.
Oh, well, right. That's one of the purposes of insurance, which is actually an interesting kind of form of a group kind of based cost containment kind of strategy, is is you want to make sure that it works first before you start expending energy and effort on it. So, and we're still waiting to see. I mean, there's definitely a lot of good preliminary data on it.
So I want the study to come out, and we might have talked about this at some point. The study to come out with something they did approve for moderate to severe sleep apnea and weight loss. They approved weight loss surgery.
Okay.
And so comparing,
I thought that was already an approved.
it is,
Yeah.
and it's approved for from the insurance standpoint. But
Right.
again, those are the patients. Well, if they should be able to cover one or the other. Those
Right.
are the patients that would benefit from this medication. Those were the people that were studied.
Right. But I know, I mean, back in my time working with weight loss surgery clients, there are plenty of insurance companies that don't provide coverage for weight loss surgery either, or specifically exclude it, which is a real short-sighted kind of perspective on them. Because there's lots of, as we've had these conversations, and maybe we need to come up with a green plant-based GLP-1 program that, this is just me kind of thinking off the fly, but maybe we need something that says, hey, now you're on a GLP-1. What's the next step? Like, let's do that plus something else. Like, now you're taking it for your sleep apnea. What else can you do with it?
Well, so interestingly, and I don't know the research on this, but interestingly, a lot of rheumatologists have picked up prescribing GLP-1, not because they treat metabolism problems, not because they treat diabetes, not because they treat obstructive sleep apnea, but there's some data that they believe that these people had less complaints of joint problems. Okay.
Well, that could be consistent with the understanding of obesity being a chronic inflammation.
But rheumatologists are not treating like degenerative osteoarthritis. They're treating inflammatory arthritis.
Right. And there's thinking that your inflammatory response goes down as obesity decreases. Right? I mean, wouldn't that be the mechanism of action, or at least one of the hypothesized?
It could be, but it's not approved for that.
Well, yeah.
It's not approved for that. I mean, I would be very happy to hand it over to them. I just don't like the fact that I just ended up with the hot potato this week.
Yeah, I can see how that would be frustrating. I could also see how it is helpful to clarify that if you meet two of these criteria, then that would be the announcement of, a GLP-1 being approved for your sleep apnea would be relevant for. You were living with excess body weight and you have sleep apnea, you're an ideal candidate for a GLP-1 for sleep apnea.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're a really good candidate for some intensive diet and exercise information.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Which should be first and foremost before people start on medication that hasn't been out for more than 10 years.
I mean, I think it should be both, to be honest. I mean, I think it
could be both.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure people get through those first couple steps.
Yeah. I think...
It was making me think about, that song that you sing when you're a little kid, like the first comes love, then comes marriage, that one.
The baby in the baby carriage, right?
Yep. So I feel like we're putting the baby carriage before other things.
I mean, we are. I mean, in a lot of ways. Like, this is...
Apparently we do that in other things, too.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely...
21st century stuff.
Right. And especially with AI now. Yeah. There'll be even more breakthroughs on that. But I think it is
and they're making recommendations to use AI to write your appeal letters for your insurance carriers to get these medicines covered.
I can see why. I mean, I think
and in
most
20 seconds it'll be written.
Right. I think a lot of denials are kind of
coming from AI.
Well, right, or they're just unilaterally. You're not even given really an explanation why. It's just like not covered.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with that. I mean, really, insurance is not there to keep us healthy. Insurance is to keep us from probably losing the farm because of major medical issues.
Right.
So
agreed.
I don't think they're looking out for our best interest.
But I mean, I think you and I have talked about this too, and this is where that reality check of the GLP-1 is, and we need to dive into this. Maybe we can add this to this conversation too. You can't be on a GLP-1 and still be eating McDonald's and be healthy for the rest of your
But why not?
Because it's not about...
They didn't study that.
Because It's also about the quality of the caloric intake, especially when the GLP-1 is essentially going to you
Starve you.
correct. Like your caloric intake for the day, the way that it works is that you forget about the fact that your calorie count is drastically down.
Now, we've talked about this before. Intermittent fasting does that as well.
It does. And there's
Okay.
some compelling data on intermittent fasting. Like
Guess what? Intermittent fasting saves insurance companies money.
agreed. I don't know if are they going to pay us to tell you guys that or walk everybody through like intermittent fasting on that?
This we have to get past this. Somebody's going to pay you to do something because it really makes sense that people have to have this buy-in from from the physician side, from their psychologist side, from their
Right.
friend side, instead of everybody trying to go with the most expensive thing first. Now, again, it may sound to you guys out there that I'm anti GLP-1, and I'm really not anti GLP-1. I'm anti the expectation that all of your problems are going to be solved when your number on your scale is lighter.
Correct. As we were talking about earlier, with rapid weight loss, this is true whether you're on a GLP-1 or not. With rapid weight loss, you're also going to be losing muscle. You need to build muscle tone. You need to be able to eat caloric intake that allows you to build muscle tone, which is a whole other piece from coming from a balanced diet perspective. There's other pieces to this whole puzzle that I agree need more recognition and do not get that recognition.
And we're not talking about on this episode,
Yeah.
but what about these stupid weighted vests? Okay, as someone who's like backpacked around different places,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm carrying a backpack that actually has useful things in it rather than these weighted vests that people are jogging and walking
Oh, I
with.
see people do them. There's a lot of that happening. I mean, tell me what the downsides are to a weighted vest.
How many backpacks do you own that you need to buy a whole extra
Oh,
little backpack?
but this is Michelle who's like going to be like thrifting on the side and you'd be like, I got all my weights already because you've got stuff with you. You can fill up a bag already and carry that around.
So on one of the podcasts when I do have Luna
Yeah.
here, I have a Luna backpack that she loves because
Uh-huh.
I thought it was a little bit safer for her
Uh-huh.
when we're biking around different places, when I take her out to go fishing or something, so that she wasn't in a trailer behind me. So she's in a backpack. That's like 25 pounds
There you go.
sitting there on my back.
Right. I mean, resistance training is a legitimate need.
So we need
That
people to keep their weight up.
for sure, you need muscle mass, and you're going to lose muscle mass taking a GLP-1. You're going to lose muscle mass by whenever you're losing weight, which is why you have to actively engage in behaviors to build the muscle mass. It's not easy. Like it's a balancing act, and then that's before you even factor in the fact that we live in this food environment that tells us that McDonald's is a balanced meal.
Like food
Nothing
graveyard.
against, these things, but
Do you have an opinion? Do you wanna write to us and tell me why I'm wrong?
oh yeah, I know. I actually, for the record, I am very pro GLP-1s. I think they're a phenomenal medication with lots of I think benefits that we're still understanding. There's also some significant I think mental health benefits to GLP-1 medications, specifically
But
around.
tell me why this country approved only injectable weekly medication instead of oral agents which are available worldwide.
Well, I think Novo is still doing the tests on those, right? Because it's
Available
semaglutide.
worldwide, not approved in this country.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think we do have a questionable pharmaceutical situation here where we spend quite a bit of money to develop these meds that aren't given to us at the same price. I do think there's an issue with that. So, I agree, girl.
I don't want to get yelled at, but I do want to have kind of a discussion about it
For
because I think
sure.
it's a really important thing.
Maybe we should mark this episode as discussion heavy. We'll see. Maybe this will take off. Maybe we'll finally get our listeners to be like, yes.
I have a feeling, and mark my words, okay, this is coming out in 2025. Mark my words, back in the day when Botox parties were first new, they have GLP-1 parties. They're just starting. And it's questionable medical people. Yeah, they have a degree. Yeah, they can prescribe things, but questionable on whether they do this on a regular basis.
Sure.
They will be having GLP like on the side of your grocery store
Sure.
or your
Right.
yoga studio.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
No
but
labs required, no dietitian required.
right.
I'm gonna take the first vote and say it's gonna be at your chiropractor's office
it'll
momentarily.
it'll be lots of places, I'm sure. But in a lot of ways, I think it could actually still help some people. They just still need to understand that it's more than just the injection. It's or the medication. It's that
Obesity
flow.
is a condition. It
It
is a
is. It's a
serious,
chronic
serious
illness.
medical
Yeah,
condition, and obesity needs to be managed. Being overweight is an invitation to make some changes.
absolutely. 100%. And it's not
That's where
easy.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
drop the mic on my take on it.
Yeah.
Is it's not this expectation because you have a condition that all of a sudden you require a medication for it.
I get that. I would agree. I would also say this is a phenomenal. The GLP-1s, and including the ones that are still in the pipeline, are there's a phenomenal need for them. It does not address the other core systemic issues, food and the food content and supply being one of them, activity and resistance training being another area that needs to be addressed. I also think, which we talked about this before we hit record, I also think you're going to see a new set of body dysmorphia and eating related disorders pop up with GLP-1s. Um, just because it's now, I think, unleashing more of you now have access to potentially get to a weight that's very different than
Only
what
some people are
you
going to have
did.
access.
That's another piece of it, of who will have access to it. So yes, I think the jury is still out on what these things are going to look like. But I mean, I would say overall, I think there's a lot of benefit of these medications. I think can they be misused? 100%. But I also think there's a ton of benefit out there for a lot of people.
All right. So I asked you this last episode, but do share this episode with someone who
Yes.
needs it. Share it with someone who doesn't need it, who might want
Oh
to
yeah.
send us an email.
Absolutely. We'll talk about
Um,
GLP-1s all the time if anybody has questions about them.
but please
They're
share it.
fascinating.
So
Absolutely. All right. Well, until next time, Sleep Nation, which I guess you could be Terzepatide Nation if you
it's
have
not
excess
my
body weight,
nation. It's not
excess
my
body
nation.
weight, and sleep apnea. But until next time, Sleep Nation. All
But
right.
be kind to your doctors, okay? Like, just make sure that you don't come in with guns a-blazing with all of your ammunition saying, I need this.
I get that. I think that should be the in general. They should be like, you need to give me. So, all
All
right.
right.
Until next
Bye.
time. Bye.